So, I got cussed out on a first date. How does that happen, one might ask? It was a very, very small mistake. I don't even know that I'd really call it a mistake, actually. I go on a date with this guy who lives about an hour away. He already seemed kind of irritated, and maybe he wasn't going to come because he's like, I'm an hour away. And he was like, I should have just read the signs, because he was kind of like, oh, well, it's an hour away, and if I drive all the way over there. And then I was like, okay, well, then don't. So then he's like, no, I'm going to come. So we meet at a restaurant. We have a decent date. I mean, it wasn't like fireworks or anything, but it also wasn't crazy bad. So then we're getting ready to leave, and my friends call me, and they're like, hey, we're going to be at this bar, like, come meet us. And I felt kind of bad, because that's just the kind of person I am. And he lives an hour away, so it's like, hey, maybe you just come have a drink with me and my friends, so you don't feel like you're only out here for like 45 minutes and then you had to drive all the way back home. So then I say to him, and this is where the problem began, even though I don't think it was that big of a deal.
It's a huge deal.
Well, I said.
It's a huge deal. Two things, right? Why must you hang out with your friends on that day? Like, at the same time that you're on a date. It couldn't have happened before. It couldn't have happened after you wrap up the date. Like, okay, he tells you, okay, I'm going home, and you tell him, okay, you're going home. You ask him to meet your friends on the first date. And also, you're like, you didn't want to say that because you felt bad, as you should. Like, tell your friends you're busy. Like, do they own you or something? Tell your friends you're busy. Like, single ladies, your friends are keeping you single. And if you want to be single, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But don't act obtuse and say things like, oh, I'm single, I don't know why. I'm telling you right now, your friends. Like...
Your name's really Ryan, right? And it was funny because I had just went on a date with a guy a couple days before that whose name was like Jack or something on his profile, but his name was actually Steven. Okay, so I was just curious. Well, then he starts with, oh, you don't even know my name? I paid for this dinner and all this stuff, and you don't even know my name? I said, actually, I do know your name because I just said your name. I was just clarifying that that's actually your name. He seemed to take serious issue with this.
I don't know. The type of person I am, I'm Haitian, right? I'm Haitian. If we're talking about anything and you bring up the fact that you paid for this, you paid for that, it's done. I don't even want to hear anything else. Like, I have that, I don't know if it's called ego, but I have that thing. If you have to remind me what you just paid for, or you have to remind me the sacrifice you just made, like, I just came 1 hour away, or I'm paying for this. Yeah, we're done. You'll never hear from me again. Don't worry about me. But that's just me, though. That I'm Haitian, so let me preface this. Any Haitian here, let me know, because, like, we're like that for real. Like, don't tell me you paid for this dinner, so I'm supposed to know your name. Like she said, she was just clarifying. You didn't have to bring up the fact that you paid for this date. If you didn't want to pay for it, you didn't have to. What is going on? I know you paid for it. You're reminding me? Okay.
So then I was like, oh, okay, well, like, if you're mad and you just want to go, he's like, no, never mind. Again, my fault. I should have just ended the date there.
Right.
He wasn't, like, aggressive about it, but he was clearly upset. So then we get to my house because he parked in front of my house because we were going to take an Uber because we're being responsible, right? Another thing I probably shouldn't have done. I don't think I've ever done that since. And we're waiting for the lift, and he kisses me. Okay, fine, whatever. But then, all of a sudden, we're in the lift, we're in the back seat, and his mood changes again. And I'm like, trying to be playful, nudging him a little. And then, like, I go to, like, take his hand, and I'm like, hey. And he kind of, like, does this to my fingers. And I was like...
Oh, nah. Like, he's an avoidant, and he seems to have some kind of, like, personality. I wouldn't say disorder, because I don't know him at all. I can't diagnose him, but it seems like he has some personality issues going on. And he gets mad really quickly, and he's always, like, there's a personality issue at play here, okay? So, He pushed your hand.
What? So now I'm like, okay, so like I'm texting my friends and I'm like, hey, I gotta figure out a way to get away from this guy. I try to be as honest as possible. So once we hit the bar, I look at him and I was like, hey, do you want to just take the lift back to your house or back to my house to get your car? Because you're clearly upset, like clearly, like the whole mood is off. He's off, and I'm just like, okay, like I'm not feeling this at all in any type of way. And he's, no, I want to come in. So obviously, like, I don't know this guy that well. He's already being weird. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to make a scene. Whatever, fine. Maybe we'll have a drink. And then I'll say, okay, I'm going to go disappear with my friends. And then he could go his separate way. So we're in the bar. And now I'm not interested in him at all. So I don't want to let him buy me a drink. So I'm going to buy my own drink. So I asked the bartender for a beer. And he's like, no, I'm going to pay. And I was like, no. Like, I mean, he's already, like, acting weird about the name thing and how he paid for dinner. And so I'm like, no. So anyways, he insists, so he pays for it, right? And then, so, like, I turn to him and I say, hey, like, I don't really think this is working out. Like, I'm not really feeling this. Like, thank you for coming out and thank you for dinner. But, like, this is just really not working out. And I say it in a really nice tone and I say it quietly. And he stands up and he's like, I knew it, you fucking bitch. And he starts just cussing up a storm. And he's just yelling at me in this packed bar. So my friend is with a guy and the guy kind of jumps up and he has to like get into his face. The bar bouncer person comes and they kind of like push him out. So like he's yelling now through the window at me and cussing and all this stuff. So now all I'm thinking is his car is in front of my house.
Hey. Yeah, mental issue.
So now I want you to get your car out of the front of my house. And I'm like, okay, is he a weirdo who's going to like break a window or do something weird? So he's texting me non-stop, like texting me. And he purchased the lift. So he knew the address to get back to my house. So, but he's like cussing at me. He's telling me that I don't even look like my pictures and that I'm fat and that I'm all these things. And he's just going on and on and on and on. So I block him from texting me. But then I'm like, man, I wonder if he...
My thing with that is, why are y'all so comfortable letting men know where y'all live? Like, like, y'all don't see enough news about women being unalive enough for y'all? Like, I've seen enough and I've heard enough.
Has gotten to the house and is gone. So then I look at my Snapchat and now I have all these snap messages from him. And he's like in video, still cussing me out. We're talking like 35, 40 minutes later. But I finally see like he's in his car. So now I know he's not in front of my house anymore. So then I block him on Snapchat. And then the bartender says, wow, I'm sorry. Like, why was your boyfriend so mad? And I was like, that was a first date. And he was like, what? That was the first date? And I was like, yes. And he was like, I think you get free shots. And I was like, well, that's nice. You don't have to do that. But yeah, that's how a story of how I got cussed out on a first date. By far the worst date I've ever been on. I can't even say probably. That was the worst date I've ever been on. Some men are just really sensitive, I guess. I mean, it was just a question. But one of my friends was asking me, like, what's the worst date I've been on? And it reminded me of that story.
Dating is dangerous. That's what y'all have to deal with? Hey.
I was talking to my mom yesterday. She was telling me, Ruti, don't worry, you're gonna have husband, God gonna provide husband for you. Every time she say that, I'm always like, I'm gonna be happy whether or not I have a man, Mom. Don't worry about it. And she want me to have a Christian man, obviously. I was telling her that these Christian men can't talk about nothing but submission. I want a submissive woman. I want a subservient woman.
Didn't know what
and
that
my mom
entailed.
said, really? What do you mean? This is 22nd century. What do you mean submissive? What does that mean? This is America. This is America. Everybody have to make money. Maybe back then they can do that, but now they can't do that. And then I told her, not only do they want a submissive woman, but these niggas that's talking about submission don't make any money. She said, no money? What do you mean no money? They want you to bow down with no money? Ruti, I never heard this kind of way. I've never heard this before. Mind you, I would consider my mom a more submissive woman towards my father, but even she was like, this is some bullshit.
Sure, I'm telling you, like, they say things that they've heard not knowing what things mean. Like, most of the time, I think what the guys mean is they want a woman who is kind and who respects them, like who's not gonna put them down. That's different than submit. Like, y'all need to understand what words mean before you say it. Like, how you don't have any money, you want a woman to submit to what? My Haitian accent is coming out. Submit to what? Anyway, y'all, that's all I have for today. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you on the next video.